Has McDonald's basically now become a predator's paradise? It doesn't sound like that these are isolated incidents. It sounds like there is a pattern of abuse in what's become, frankly, a hotbed of harassment. When do you expect to get to a position where there will be zero reports from your staff of abuse and harassment in McDonald's restaurants?
How did this brilliant Labour Party MP, Byrne, expose McDonald's as a bit of a predator's paradise? Well, this was at a Business and Trade Select Committee meeting on making work pay and the Employment Rights Bill on the 7th of January 2025, where Byrne, the chair, was asking Alistair Macrow, the UK and Ireland CEO of McDonald's, about some rather dodgy malpractices.
We now have 160 cases of abuse reported to the BBC at McDonald's. We have 300 cases that have been reported to the Equalities Watchdog. We have 700 people, former employees of McDonald's, taking legal action against you. Has McDonald's basically now become a predator's paradise?
Since I saw you over November 2023, I've put in place a programme of significant change within our business, which has seen us strengthen our standards. It's seen us launch a wide-ranging cultural action plan which guarantees our ability to detect, to deter and to deal with any forms of harassment in our business. Not just robust, but they're industry-leading, and it's working. We have seen...
Well, you say it's working. I mean, one victim told the BBC that managers inappropriately touched her, and when she raised it, she was told to suck it up. Another female worker says a male manager sent her topless pictures. Another victim says a shift manager asked her for sex in return for extra shifts. She was 17. Now, when you came before us last time, you said you were absolutely determined to root out these behaviours and eradicate these people from the business. It sounds to us, from what the BBC have said today, that you failed.
Those allegations described are abhorrent, unacceptable, and there is no place for them in McDonald's.
Have they been allowed to happen?
I would like to be able to investigate each of those, to understand them and ensure that we're able to take the appropriate action and deal with them. We have not got room for anybody in our business who behaves in that manner. The measures that I've put in place mean that we are able to offer a secure, safe workplace where people are respected and feel included. I hear that from our people. It's working. I know this because they tell me they know how to speak up. They're confident that if they do speak up, management will take appropriate action. And 9 out of 10 people recommending McDonald's as a great place to work on the back of it.
But then since we last met in November 2023, how many managers or staff have been dismissed as a result of investigations into allegations like the appalling allegations we've read about in the BBC today?
A large part of my focus, one of the most important moves we've made, is to enhance our speak-up channels. We've just launched a new channel called Red Flags, which is designed by our people for our people.
But how many managers have been dismissed as a result?
As a result, people are speaking up, and we continue to investigate all allegations. For sexual harassment, we have seen 75 allegations made, which resulted in 47 being upheld with disciplinary action and 29 people being dismissed over the latest 12-month period.
Okay, and how many franchises have been now terminated as a result of allegations at those particular stores?
We hold all of our franchisees to account to a broad set of standards, including standards around people. We have a significant programme to review that of both announced and unannounced visits and a whole set of measures that are put in place. Those are ultimately that allows us to assess our franchisees and their ability to uphold the standards we expect within McDonald's.
How many franchises have been terminated as a result of allegations of abuse?
I'll move aside from allegations because we don't have any who have been terminated for allegations. Okay. However, across the last 5 years, we have had 15 franchisees who have left the McDonald's system because of being unable to deliver the right level of performance, and 6 of those were failing to meet the standards required for people practices.
Okay, so do you accept, based on the experience that you've had, that ultimately this kind of abuse flourishes where there is an imbalance of power in the workplace?
The type of allegations that you describe are not widespread. They are isolated incidents that must be driven out of our business.
But you've got
100
people bringing a legal action against you, 300 cases reported to the EHRC. The EHRC, we're told, is asking you to take tougher action. 160 cases of abuse reported to the BBC. It doesn't sound like that these are isolated incidents. It sounds like there is a pattern of abuse in what's become, frankly, a hotbed of harassment.
I don't want to belittle any of those allegations. Every single one is important. But what I should be clear is that, put those numbers in context that you mentioned, those by far the majority refer to the period before the new action plan we put in place. And they refer to the historic position that people have investigated. So that's not a reflection of where the culture is in McDonald's today and all the changes that we've driven over the course of the last 12 to 18 months.
Would you accept that the abuse that we've heard about tends to flourish where there is an imbalance of power in a workplace?
This isn't an issue about imbalance of power. This is about an issue about very poor behaviour from individuals in the organisation. And when it occurs, it doesn't occur necessarily where somebody's in a position of power. These are behaviours that happen from bad-minded people acting in a completely unacceptable manner, and I have no time for them. I'm angry that people think they can behave this way in our business.
Literally, you don't think an imbalance of power has anything to do with a permissive environment for abuse, and like the abuse that we've heard about in the BBC today?
Our managers are our first line of defence against any form of bad behaviour or harassment.
Many of these allegations are about managers.
I don't see any pattern that suggests that poor behaviour is driven by managers at all. We do have managers who have had to be disciplined and dismissed. There is no question about that. But this is about ensuring that everybody, regardless of their level in the organisation, behave in the way that we expect within McDonald's to support what is a dynamic, positive culture in which our teams look after each other.
But that must be surely harder to put in place if you have got, as you have, 90% of your workforce on 0 hours contracts.
Not at all. We offer every McDonald's employee the opportunity to choose whether they prefer to have...
If you've got an example of an individual who says a shift manager asked her for sex in return for extra shifts, I mean, you've obviously got a problem where somebody who is on a 0 hours contract is in a more vulnerable position.
As that behaviour is completely unacceptable, it's abhorrent, and I want to investigate it and be able to deal with any wrongdoing that's occurred there. That is a one-off installation. That's an issue of people's behaviour, disgusting behaviour. That is not an issue of the contract people. Everybody who works at McDonald's has the opportunity to choose whether they'd like one of our flexible contracts or guaranteed hours contract. Now, about 17,000 people at the moment have chosen guaranteed hours contracts, and the rest choose flexible. We know that the flexible contracts are particularly popular with young people, and nearly 70% of our people are under the age of 25.
So you do not accept that the pervasive use of 0 hours contracts creates imbalances of power, and imbalances of power creates a vulnerability for abuse to flourish. You don't accept that argument.
When considering work contracts, for me it's about the quality of contract. It's not about the number of hours that are stipulated. Our flexible contracts have all the same provisions as a guaranteed hours contract, other than specifying the number of hours that somebody has to work every single week. And that's a preference for young people to be able to choose to work more hours during their holidays, and maybe to work not at all during times of exam periods, for example. So the rest of the contract, the holiday pay they accrue, the statutory sick pay, maternity, paternity rights, all of those are exactly the same as a guaranteed hours contract. And of course, every single person can choose a guaranteed hours contract if they'd like. Quite frankly, it helps me if more people choose a guaranteed hours contract, because we know that more of our hours in the restaurant's working week are automatically covered. But I don't want to force people to do something they don't want to do. Part of working for McDonald's is the flexibility it brings to our employees, and it's one of the main reasons people like to stay with us.
But I just want to make sure we've got this on the record. You don't think that pervasive use of 0 hours contracts leads to imbalances of power in the workplace?
Contracts that we offer in McDonald's, which are fair contracts, do not create any sort of systemic behaviour or issue with balances of power. I am very confident of that, and I believe that we have in place all of the right people checks to ensure that no managers are using them that way. So it's important to understand how we schedule hours in our restaurant. That helps.
I'm just wondering if that is true, then how can we have victims making allegations that shift managers asked a 17-year-old girl for sex in return for extra shifts?
I would like to investigate that particular occasion and ensure that we can deal with any wrongdoing that has happened on that particular occasion. Because it's very rare for the manager of a shift to be the person who is scheduling the people that shift. And typically, one of our restaurants will have anything between 10 and 20 managers. One of those at any point in time will be responsible for scheduling overall. And that responsibility often changes from one period to the next to keep it fresh. So it's not a situation that builds a certain power among one individual who can then control exactly who works what and when. It's also bound by a system that does most of the work for you.
And so what has the EHRC asked you to do most recently?
So we have a wide-ranging agreement with the HRC that we signed in February 2023. It has many.
Have they asked you to strengthen the arrangements?
We are working with them to strengthen it. Part of our expectation when we first started working with them is that our agreement with them would evolve over time as we learn where the priorities need to be, and we're in ongoing conversation about strengthening it. We have not yet reached a position of being clear what that strengthening might look like.
So why have they made that request of you?
As I said, we expected to continue to evolve the arrangement we have. As new information comes to light, as we understand where the opportunities to get stronger are, then we're evolving that agreement in the way that we're evolving our plans all the time as a business that's green and growing.
So it's said that you're, as a company, one of the most vociferous advocates for retaining the flexibilities for 0 hours contracts in the consultation that is being undertaken by the department. Are you arguing to keep the flexibilities of the current 0 hours contract regime?
We are involved in the consultation, and I must congratulate the government on the way they're consulting with business on the Workers' Right Bill, and I'm very pleased to be part of that discussion with the Secretary of State and the Deputy Prime Minister. Our position is very clear that against all of the measures, there are 4 screens that I put to them. They are, first and foremost, are practicality, then affordability, then the encouragement of further employment, and then growth. Practicality is very, very important in our industry, and it's good to be able to represent the hospitality industry because we experience peaks and troughs which are much greater than other retailers and much less predictable. They're driven by very, very local events. So flexibility is really, really important. 0 hours contract is not. But what's important for me is that people have choice. And knowing that our people want to choose, or a number of our people want to choose a flexible contract that does not commit them to working every single week is really important. So that's what I want to maintain, the ability of people to choose. I expect everyone to be offered the opportunity to be able to have a guaranteed hours contract, and I expect to have the flexibility to be able to continue to operate our business in such a dynamic environment. And I know you'll be familiar from your own experience in your early days working on restaurants of just how those trading patterns go up and down.
Just cutting through that, thank you for that answer, but does that mean you are basically arguing to retain the current flexibilities, or are you happy with the government's proposals as they have set out in the bill?
So we're very, we want to contain flexibility. The consultation continues, and I think absolutely should continue. There is proposals to create contracts that are based on the number of hours that people have worked. I think that's entirely reasonable. The point that we need to continue consulting on is what is that period of time that we look back over for what people work, because it needs to reflect the way those peaks and troughs work over the course of a year, rather than periods of time that could leave you with either not enough or too many people because of the different shapes of the business. So that's the most. So it's as ever, it's in getting the detail absolutely right. But the concept is something we very much support. The concept of the whole Employment Right Bill is a direction of travel that I very much support. It will help us ensure that everybody has access to good jobs, the type of jobs we offer at McDonald's, which everyone should be able to, and I think it will help level the playing field.
When do you expect to get to a position where there will be 0 reports from your staff of abuse and harassment in McDonald's restaurants?
I can be very clear with you that I won't be happy until there is.
I'm sure you won't be happy, but when do you think you will get to that point?
I understand and that we are operating in a world where harassment is an issue for businesses, organisations and institutions, and we can never ever be complacent. We will employ around 230,000 different people over the course of next year, and I will always need to have a permanent focus on dealing with and eradicating harassment. And I'm realistic that that's something that we have to do.
But you can't give us a guarantee, or you can't give us a timeline for when McDonald's will be abuse-free.
I cannot guarantee a time when there will be no allegations raised. And in fact, if there was nobody speaking up, I'd be concerned that something was stopping people speaking up. My aim is to make sure that there is nobody who has any doubt at all that McDonald's is a business that will not tolerate harassment of any kind. And I'm a leader. I really am a leader who believes that every single person should be able to come to work feeling safe. They should be able to come to work and be respected. And everybody should be included, no matter where they're from, what their background is and what they believe in. That is what I stand for, and that's what my business stands for. Okay. And we will continue to drive everything we can to do that. At the heart of it is having the best speak up process, because a business in which speak up is healthy, in which people believe in it and trust in it, is a business in which there is no hiding place for bad actors. And that is what I'm searching to do.
Thank you. I think people will be concerned that there wasn't a timeline, but let me come into Joshua Reynolds.
160 cases of abuse at McDonald's, 300 cases reported to the Equalities Watchdog, 700 former employees of McDonald's taking legal action. Wow. Kind of reminds me of them live streams we did about Sports Direct, or right up to the post office, and the meeting with Amazon. Truly shocking evidence, wasn't it? But what do you guys think? Let me know down below, and if you enjoy everything else of Commons, Select Committee meetings, like and subscribe. And trying to reach 40,000 subs by the end of the year. Tough ask, I know, but we all like a tryer, don't we? So just leaves me to say I shall bid you farewell and take care, my friends.